Now, pressure is growing on President Donald Trump from an unusual direction. The National Rifle Association is traditionally a close ally of the Republican Party, but it has come out at odds with the Trump administration over its response to the fatal shooting of Alex Pretti by ICE agents during a protest in Minneapolis. In a statement, the group said the NRA unequivocally believes that all law-abiding citizens have a right to keep and bear arms anywhere they have a legal right to be. Now, senior government officials had publicly tried to justify the shooting of Pretti because he was carrying a gun at a protest, a right guaranteed to him by the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. Let's talk about this with David Dunn, Professor for International Politics at the University of Birmingham in the UK and an expert on US domestic policy. Welcome to DW. So as we've been reporting, the Trump administration, using the fact that Pretti was in possession of a firearm, using that as a justification for his killing. Now, that right now is not going down well with gun groups and with many Republicans, is it? Tell us why.
Well, as I say, the US Constitution guarantees the right to bear arms as a way of protecting citizens against an illegitimate government. It goes back to the revolution in 1776. And that right is really enshrined in the beliefs of many conservatives, many of whom have been a core voting bloc for Donald Trump. And for him and other members of his administration to say that it's illegitimate and provocative for people to carry a weapon at a protest is to fly in the face of that. So what he's managed to do by making these comments is to unite liberals who've always been opponents of Trump with actually a core section of the conservative base that he relies upon, who are now literally up in arms, if you pardon the expression, at the way in which they have sought to actually play down or justify the illegal killing of a peaceful protester just because he happened to be legally carrying a firearm. There's no suggestion that he actually either brandished the weapon or even went for the weapon. But what they're saying is the very fact that he turned up at a protest with a concealed weapon, that's in some ways justified his killing, and that has outraged huge sections of American society.
So are we actually seeing cracks in Trump's MAGA base over this gun issue, or do you think that Trump's sort of core followers will end up siding with him, even if this does go against Second Amendment principles?
Well, what we see is that there are a section of his population, no matter what he does, in contradiction to what he said previously, they stick by him. That's true on his muscular foreign policy, as your last report talked about. It's true on the Epstein files, and it's true on this. But there's also a large section of conservative opinion who were supporters of Trump, who actually are horrified at what's happening there. So I think what we're seeing is a fracturing of that coalition, and that's reflected in record low opinion polls on a whole variety of issues, and in particular, overall, in terms of actually the way in which his unpopularity is unprecedented and unparalleled.
Democrats in Congress are now calling for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to step down or face impeachment. How big is the political fallout of all of these events?
I think this fallout is huge because these members of the administration are clearly out of step with public opinion, whereby the whole country is horrified at what is an obviously unjust killing of this peaceful protester, and to have members of the administration trying to grasp at justifications for something that is clearly unjustifiable shows them to be out of step with public opinion. And of course, it's much easier to get support in Congress for the impeachment of an official than it is for the president, and therefore there will be attempts to actually impeach Kristi Noem, and indeed thereafter if the House changes hands in November at the midterm elections. This will run and run. These issues and the demands for prosecution of the people who killed both the peaceful protesters in Minnesota will continue. This isn't an issue that's going to go away, and this is an issue that's lit up the internet and lit up and united American public opinion against the horrors of what's happening on American streets by ICE and other federal agencies.
All right.
And therefore it's an issue.
David Dunn, Professor for International Politics at the University of Birmingham. We've run out of time, but thank you so much for your time.